Hello ladies and gents, and you join me at the beautiful Westminster Abbey. And we're visiting just 4 days after the coronation, although you'll be seeing this video hopefully 1 week after it, if the artwork that I'm expecting comes in. So we shall now make the journey that the King and Queen made on their coronation day. So they're waiting outside in their coach, the Queen Elizabeth II estate coach. They came in, waiting in the coach, looking somewhat grumpy and disgruntled, as elderly people normally do. So, and in we go, and we're going to take the exact same journey as the King and the Queen as they took. So I hope you're all going to enjoy this one. And we'll be visiting all the spots, and the Coronation Theatre has still been left out, so it's a real treat. So off we go. And welcome to Westminster Abbey. We shall take the same route as the King. This is the beautiful choir screen through which the King and Queen walked. Join me in there on the Coronation Theatre on the other side.
Josh, fine. Hang on a minute, just wait 2 seconds, just there. Just let this lady take a picture and then I'll take it. That's it. Incredible. Keep smiling. Keep smiling. Oh.
I was about to say, and that's on the side. Oh, I can see it. Can you? You get the right angle. It's quite a good room. I don't know. So this is where they all walk, right from the bottom of the the longest walking away from the river. What is the longest walking away?
Oh, shame, Good afternoon, ladies and gents, and this is the anointing screen. This is now in St George's Chapel, where the throne usually goes. So whether this is just a temporary exhibition or not, I don't know. It's got all the names of the Commonwealth countries on there. And that is the King Charles anointing screen. And we are in the chapter house of Westminster Abbey. And this is the Coronation exhibition. Pause to read each description if you want to.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Right, so you've seen where the coronation all occurred and everything inside the Abbey and this exhibition now, so if you enjoyed the coronation we're going to have a little look back 1 week on using pencil sketches and colour drawings and paintings and things kindly supplied by my friends David and Jenny, so a massive thank you to them for that, and go on to that part of the video now. I hope you're going to enjoy it. And the King and Queen are off in the Queen Elizabeth II state coach, leaving Buckingham Palace on their way to the Abbey. Whether you're a royalist or not, you must admit and hand it to the Brits that we do pageantry pretty well, don't we? I can't get copyrighted for these images, and a massive thank you to my friends David and Jenny for helping me with these. It's absolutely lovely and really appreciated. The royal trumpeters that sounded the royal fanfare as the King and Queen entered, up in the box. That's the King, flanked by his bishops and wearing the robes of state, which were the robes of his grandfather. So a lot of the coronation regalia, well, pretty much most of it, has been reutilised. There's barely been anything new made, so nice to see old stuff on an outing, and in a cost of living crisis you don't want new stuff being made, really, do you? So Queen Camilla, also flanked by bishops. On your left you have Queen Mary's crown, which is the crown that Queen Camilla was crowned with, and on the right is St Edward's crown, which is the crown that the King was crowned with. And I love this, it's absolutely stunning. As I say, massive thanks to David and Jenny for helping with these. They must have just bled their fingers to the bone getting these ones sorted out, but like they said, they've pretty much semi-retired now and they don't have much to do, so, and they are the ultimate royalists, so I think they've enjoyed this one. The King and Queen have been taken to the Coronation Theatre. You can see their seats and kneelers where they are, and right over to the right is St Edward's chair, the coronation chair. Nice little pencil sketch looking down at St Edward's chair. King Charles is being presented as our king. You've got the bishop on one side of him, and on the other side is the Duke of Norfolk, the Earl Marshal, who's in charge of arranging all these things. You last saw him at the Queen's funeral, who snapped the rod over the Queen's coffin. That was him. Nice pencil sketch of King Charles. The chairs that they're seated in are reused as well. They are the original frames for the chairs from Queen Elizabeth's coronation. They just reupholstered them with the King's cipher. This is an image I really liked, this and the next one. Each monarch, when they are crowned, or coronated as some people say, they are presented with a new Bible. And this is that moment. As the head of the Church of England, Fidei Defensor, as we see on our coins, is defender of the faith, so they have to uphold and defend that faith. It's the King signing his coronation oath. The King being led to the altar now, and if you look over onto the far left, the altar is where all the coronation regalia is laid out and taken each piece to the King as it's needed, but it's laid on the altar before God. I like this one. David said he wasn't pleased with this one. He tried a couple of the interior of the Abbey and he just wasn't pleased with them, but I liked it, thought it was quite nice. King and Queen. These are brilliant, I like these. And here we get to see the reverse side of St Edward's chair, which you don't always get to see. And the Coronation Theatre in operation. The high altar, which if you watched the coronation you could see the beautiful brightly coloured altarpiece, is normally covered over with white curtains, so we really got to see the place intended for what it was meant to be used for, and in its full beauty and glory. And this is what I'm talking about. This is normally covered over, and all the royal plate and Abbey plate, the big round plates and the gold stuff, the cups and everything, that was all bought out as well. So the coronation regalia, if you've been to the tower, especially like me, as many times as I have, seen it all behind cabinets, each piece, and it's nice to see it out of the cabinets and being used for its intended purpose. And this is stunning, this. And this will probably be covered back over again soon, because of the light which shines through can damage it, so that's one of the reasons they keep it covered over with cream coloured curtains. And this book is the oldest religious book in England that the King touched. If you see it being brought along, you see that they had plasticky stuff over it so it didn't get damaged. But yeah, it's the oldest religious book in England. I liked this one as well. Right in the middle, at the bottom, you can see the grave of the unknown warrior looking right down the Abbey towards the choir screen and the Coronation Theatre. Oh, I thought these were very good when they sang. Very, very good. I prefer the colour one on that, the colour drawing or painting, whatever it is. Archbishop Justin Welby. And the big brooch thing he wears on his cloak, that's a great piece of history just in itself. That's a story for another time. But even the architecture of the Abbey is a stunning thing. This is interesting because you see the little tiny eagle that they hold, that's what contains the oil. It's called the ampulla, and it contains the coronation oil, and they're preparing for the sacred moment of anointing. Here it is up close. Anyone that's watched my Coronation Regalia videos will have seen this. This is the king being disrobed. It's an ancient ceremony, so old, the coronation ceremony, and it hasn't really changed that much over time, that you're disrobed and dressed in nothing but like a white linen shirt or a gown, in the late Queen's case, and that's how you're anointed, and then you're dressed afterwards in the robes of state. Oh, the anointing screen, I thought that was lovely, that. Very nice touch. Some people moaned about it, said, oh, it wasn't the same as the Queen's and whatnot, but I thought this was better than the Queen's. The canopy, it was nice, but I think this had more elegance, shall we say. And behind that screen, the king is being anointed. A moment so sacred it is screened from pretty much everyone. The king anointed, the screen is being taken away. The king's kneeling at the altar to receive the blessing. There are so many phases and stages to the coronation ceremony. It's a fascinating thing for its historical element just in its own, even if you're not a royalist. St Edward's chair. Now the bishops help the king on with the gold tunic. The sword of justice and mercy is in the king's hand. Penny Mordaunt was the sword bearer. And there are several swords involved. When the swords swapped, over, if you saw that part of the ceremony. The ancient tradition was that one sword would have to be bought with a purse of coins, so it was kind of relinquished that way. That's the sword of justice and mercy being, or sword of equity, being strapped to the king's gold tunic. This is a nice little touch when Prince William embraced the king, and it was Prince William that put the priestly stole around the king's shoulders. Nice colour image there. Now the king is robed, anointed, and they prepare him for the greatest moment of all, which is to come soon. Now they give the king the orb. Each one of these symbols has a different meaning and symbol to itself. The orb represents the world, and the cross represents God above the world. So God is above all things, including the king. The coronation ring. The coronation ring is usually put on the finger, but they decided not to do it this time because it would need a great deal of adjusting for King Charles's somewhat substantial fingers. There were some mishaps over the years. When it was put onto Queen Victoria's finger, it was put onto the wrong finger, and the old Archbishop jammed it on so tight that she had a terrible job to remove it again. So I thought this was a nice touch to bring it along like that, and the king just touch it with the renowned sausage finger. Sausage finger. Now they bring the scepters. It's the Archbishop endowing the king with the scepter. One of the scepters is gold with the Cullinan diamond in it, and the other one is gold with a dove on top. And now the greatest moment, St. Edward's crown. It's a beautiful thing, and incredibly heavy too. Here we go. The crowning has always been performed by the Archbishop of Canterbury. When Elizabeth I was crowned, one of the archbishops didn't want to do it because she was really ultra Protestant, and he was slightly Catholic, shall we say. He was persuaded in the end, though. There the Archbishop approaches the king. Everyone stands at the sacred moment of crowning. Penny Mordaunt over in the corner, bearing the sword. And they're probably the greatest moment in the coronation, although I thought it was all fantastic to watch for its historical content, and it's the first coronation I've ever seen, possibly the last, you never know. Mustn't it be nerve-wracking to perform that, in case you drop it, in case you put it on the wrong way round? When the late Queen's father was crowned, because St Edward's crown is looks the same on both sides. So what they did is tied a tiny little piece of red thread to the front of it so the Archbishop would know what was the front, and someone carefully tidied that piece of red thread away. And if you watch the coronation of King George VI, you'll see the Archbishop fumbling with the crown, and he said to the King said that he never knew if it was put on the right way or not. I think they got it right this time. We've perfected coronations over a long time. Some of the ones years ago were right balls ups. Queen Victoria's was one of those. And the King is crowned, endowed with both sceptres, robed, anointed, and he is truly now the King. There he is, little Charlie boy. Can definitely tell he's the Queen's son, can't you? He's got that look about him of the Queen. Now they've been moved to the chairs of estate, and the bishops hold up or bear the King to the chair. That's part of the age-old ceremony. One, because it is part of the ceremony, and two, the things that he is wearing, carrying and bearing are so heavy that you probably at the age of 70 odd need a bit of help. Don't forget, when the Queen was crowned, she was a very young woman. And this is Prince William about to embrace the King and take his oath of fealty to his liege lord. There he goes. That's Prince William touching the crown. Must be a strange feeling, mustn't it, to see your father being crowned king and whatnot. The show and everyone looking, that would just be absolutely awful for me. And my dad's totally a non-royalist, so yeah, I think it'd be pretty awful for him too. I thought these were very good. And now we come to the anointing and crowning of Queen Camilla. As you can see, the Archbishop has the ampulla. It's the first time the anointing of a queen has been shown like this, so that was a first in history. And there's the gold ampulla. And the Queen, she puts her hand on the coronation ring, or on the pillow. The King touched his ring, didn't he? So I don't know if it's different for a queen or whatnot, or if she was scared to touch it. She looked terrified, I thought. That's a nice image, I like this one. Archbishop goes and collects Queen Mary's crown from the altar, which lies amongst all the other regalia, and he walks across the Cosmati pavement, which has seen the coronations and history of every king and English history since the 1260s when it was laid down. And the moment that the Queen is crowned, this is where I thought she looked absolutely terrified. If you've managed to get yourself a ticket for the walking on the Cosmati pavement, you are extremely fortunate. Because I've been trying for 4 weeks and more and I can't get one. It's completely sold out. I'm filming this now. If I do go to the Abbey, that will of course be before this will follow the Abbey video, but we'll see. Crowds are meant to be horrendous. And there we are, the Queen is crowned with Queen Mary's crown. They chose Queen Mary's crown rather than the late Queen Mother's crown because Queen Mary's crown is less contentious because it doesn't have the great Cullinan diamond in it. Although the orb and the state crown that the King carried and wore did, so this is a slightly contentious woman though, isn't it? Bless her. So maybe they wanted to keep things as less contentious as they could. The ivory sceptre. That caused a little bit of contention too. Prince William is known to have said that he wants every piece of ivory in the royal collection destroyed. So quite how he felt about that, I don't know. And that's the King looking on as the Queen is crowned and invested. I bet he's thinking, oh, I've waited 70 years for this. Penny Mordaunt behind as the state bearer. The Queen is crowned, anointed, and she's now taken from the Coronation Theatre over to the King to her chair of estate. So there we are, King and Queen both. And now they're leaving the Abbey and they're back off home, probably for a right royal knees up, a threepenny bit if they need to visit the toilet. I definitely would after that length of time. And the Archbishop blesses them. There's the King, and his crown has changed now. If you notice, he no longer wears St Edward's crown, but he wears the Imperial State crown. As I said in my Coronation Regalia documentaries on the St Edward's crown, there is only one moment that crown is in contact with the monarch, and that is when they are crowned at their coronation. Other than that, they wear the Imperial State crown or one of the lighter, lesser crowns. I know the crowns are very heavy. I don't know how much the orb and sceptres weigh. I should imagine quite a bit. What we need to remember is diamonds are stones and are very heavy, as the crown jeweller said in one of my documentaries as well. And there we are, they're off. We're coming towards the end of our little slideshow soon. Hope you've all enjoyed these, looking back at the coronation. This was nice. It was the blessing of the different faiths and the taking of the oaths and that, just as the King left. And they're out of the Abbey and into the fresh air and rain. The moppy-haired man with the black stick is Black Rod. If you watch anything to do with Parliament, the state opening of Parliament, when they shut the door and the man bangs on it with the stick, that's Black Rod, and that's him. and that's the Gold State coach, as you'll see its colour in a minute. It's a very, very interesting historical piece from the Georgian era. I believe it's 1720s. It's been well maintained and so well cared for, and it's only used for the biggest state occasions nowadays. There was talk that they weren't going to use this, but it was nice to see it on an outing. And the horses are beautiful as well. Very bright bridles and whatnot on them and that, which was nice to see. It was a nice splash of colour, royal blue. And as you see, the opulence of the Gold State coach. The Beefeaters from the Tower of London, or the Yeomen of the King's Guard. It's, they are properly known. Old Chaz and Cam in the coach, crowned. I'm probably thinking, thank God that's over with. I know I would be. Couldn't think of anything more horrifying, stuck up in front of all those people and every single one of them glaring at you, waiting for you to slip up or make a wrong step. No thank you. Here we are, they're back at Buckingham Palace, which was originally a little small house built by the Duke of Buckingham, and it was purchased by King George III when St James's Palace basically was becoming a bit dilapidated and run down and old-fashioned. So they bought Buckingham House and it was extended, and the frontage was put on in the early 20th century as a theatre of a kind, like the Coronation Theatre in the Abbey. This is the Royal Theatre, the balcony appearances, and that didn't really happen much before then. So Buckingham Palace has evolved over the years along with the monarchy and the Abbey and everything else. And I hope you all enjoyed that. Thanks very much.